Ooh, a fresh pie. Save me a slice. That's good. Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's... All right, that's good. Okay. All right, okay, all right. Okay, that's good. That's good. It's enough slices!
D23 happened just about a week ago, and oh my god, was that a lot. I had really no idea what I was getting into with this, so I was like, okay, we're gonna just get a few updates, announcements about, films we already knew, but oh my god, I was so wrong about that, because it was just a bombshell, and it's to the point where Disney and Pixar are just making me go insane. And this is just Disney and Pixar I'm talking about. There's an entire other half of the show that I just won't be talking about in this video, but still just went off the rails at D23. And honestly, Disney and Pixar are kind of pulling out the stops, but at the same time, there are people that are kind of disappointed by this. Let's just get into it. We got a brand new look and trailer at Moana 2, which honestly, this was expected. This was like, okay, I knew we were gonna get this. The movie's creeping up very steadily. We're only like 3 months away from it now. And honestly, the animation looks great. I would say that all the criticism about it, oh, it's gonna look like a Disney Plus show, it looks like they've cleaned it up a bit. And regarding the plot, it doesn't look like anything crazy, and honestly, I'm getting a feel that the trailer isn't giving away too much. I still really don't know where this story is gonna be really going. They're going out to this island to unite the people. It's not really giving too much, which is a good thing. You don't really see that often. Will this be a good sequel? It'll probably turn out fine. I don't expect it to be anything grand or anything, but I think it'll just be fine. And even other movies are being scared of it, based on how Inside Out 2 did. Wicked decided to move a week up, which really shows that Disney might be a force to be reckoned with this year. And probably the years coming, because, well, not really with this movie. We finally got like an image reminding us that Elio, is still happening. And nothing really happened to the movie. It was just delayed an entire year. It looks like everything is done with that film. It's just waiting for an eventual release in June of 2025. Which, honestly, I kind of feel a little bad for the film. It's really going to come down if people are going to see this or not. People want original productions, so that's what we're getting here. It all comes down as if this movie does well. Will it make a Inside Out 2 numbers? No. But hopefully it's some sort of success for Pixar. And this one was a very exciting one, and honestly, yeah, I've been kind of anticipating the sequel for a while. Zootopia 2. Now, while obviously I can't show the footage from it, it honestly looks pretty good. It doesn't even seem like it's gone a day after the first movie. So we don't really know much about this plot in the first place. All we can go off of is that it's coming out next year. I know it's gonna be amazing, and it's gonna attract that fan base, which you can go one way or another with. You guys know what I'm talking about. But I think this movie will just also turn out really good for Disney, because a lot of people forget, Zootopia made $1 billion when it first came out. That was not expected by a lot of people. Yes, Disney was going on a trajectory really well with their films, but in $1 billion movie on an original property, the last time that happened was with Frozen. And I guess since we're talking about that now, Frozen 3 has been confirmed, and Frozen 4 is somehow in the works when the Frozen 3 hasn't even been coming out yet. You can tell this is going to be Disney's cash cow for a very long time, and honestly, I think the burnout will start after Frozen 3. Not a lot of people loved Frozen 2. It's a sequel nobody really talks about. Everyone really only talks about the first film, and I'll just say this. Yeah, Frozen 2 was kind of a drag to get through. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't anything exciting to talk about. And with Frozen 3, maybe they can do a 180, who knows. But honestly, you can tell this franchise is going to go on till Frozen 6, Frozen 5, God knows how Frozen 3 does. But it's a franchise that's going to continue. This is just common knowledge at this point. And then out of nowhere, hold on, what the hell? Out of all the things on my bingo card that night, Incredibles 3 was not one of them. Honestly, I thought Pixar completely forgot about this third movie. I mean, the second movie ended on a pretty good way to set up a third movie, but for them to just drop it out of nowhere is a good sign and also a little worrying. It's kind of double-sided. Number one, great. There's a lot more to be explored with these characters. And two, is there actually a good story for these characters to actually return? And will it be executed well? Well, to be honest, I don't have a problem with this usually with Pixar. And honestly, Inside Out proved that I shouldn't worry about this. But the thing is, third and fourth movies always go either way. But with this, if there's a good reason for this to exist, besides money, of course, I'm sure that The Incredibles 3 could turn out to be a good movie. Hopefully. I just really have my fingers crossed for it to be good. I don't expect that this movie, especially being announced now, I don't expect this movie to probably release till 2020, late 2028, 2029. It's really hard to figure that out because it's really early in development, and we already kind of had a lineup for the upcoming films right now, so it kind of fits into that category. Talking about the upcoming Pixar films, Toy Story 5, yeah, we've had this up in our heads for quite a while now, and I can't really expect a single person to be excited for this or wanting this to happen. And honestly, from this post photo that we have, on the one hand, this could work as a plot, but on the other hand, why is Woody here? Okay, so apparently this plot, instead of, whatever a bunch of people were thinking the plot was going to be, going off to college, giving the old toys back, apparently now it's the toys going up against the new generation that's starting to not just grow up on toys, but grow up on their tablets. They are going against iPad kids. This is something that, honestly, I also wasn't expecting, so I guess they're gonna be fighting kids that watch Brain Rot all day. We'll see how that goes. I guess kids that watch Skibbity Toilet. And honestly, for this newer generation, it kinda could work as a plot, but at the same time, why does this need to exist? If anything, I would have taken this over as a short. But, Pixar will be Pixar, and chances are this will make $1 billion, regardless of all the people that say, oh, we shouldn't have this. It's gonna happen. It just is. It's Toy Story, it's the flagship crown jewel of Pixar, not even just for 3D animation as a whole. It's gonna happen. And, maybe it won't be as terrible as people are going to be making out to be, but it's not going to be anything special, and honestly, I think everyone's outcome will be, yeah, this movie should have never existed in the first place. And honestly, people wanting original movies, and not even just original movies, original TV shows, we're actually getting that. Later this year, there is a new Pixar television series that's coincidentally releasing on my birthday, maybe. We have Win or Lose, Pixar's first ever original series on Disney+. And honestly, it looks actually pretty good. Well, honestly, it is kind of your typical sports underdog story, but it's a little more oomph to it, and honestly, this is something new, and hopefully this is supported, because this almost got canceled. We first got announced about this, but it kind of just fell into the trenches and we never heard about it ever again. Thankfully, it wasn't canceled or anything. Thankfully, it's still happening. You know what's something that is still happening? The Snow White remake! Yay! Honestly, this was expected. Every year's gotta have some form of remake on a classic Disney movie that really didn't need a remake in the first place, and Snow White is the one for next year. And, it looks like all the other remakes we've gotten in, the past decade. They don't really stand out against each other. It's the same thing we keep getting. One standout I'll get is probably Gal Gadot, which recently has come into a lot of controversy, not just because she's done anything, because of her acting. Honestly, I kind of just put it aside. With Wonder Woman, I kind of just don't, I just didn't indulge it. But with this, she actually looks like she's giving a good performance with this. And, well, for the dwarfs, they look like extras from the Polar Express. And I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, because I like the Polar Express. But, honestly, I'm not really excited for this at all. It's just another Disney remake that I'll come by and we'll never talk about ever again. Did you see anyone talking about the Little Mermaid remake after that came out? No. No, you didn't. And speaking of a remake, but not a remake, but a prequel, it's really weird, is Mufasa the Lion King, which we got a second trailer for, and it's August 2024. Sega, Paramount, where is the Sonic 3 trailer? I'm only going to ask you this once, or some things are going to start happening. Anyways, Mufasa the Lion King got its second trailer, and honestly, I will give the slightest credit. Honestly, it doesn't look horrendous, although plot points are kind of starting to confuse me. I will say that the characters look a little more expressive than the first film. I guess they did take that criticism, but very slightly. It's never gonna match the expressions of the original, no. But also with plot points being that Scar was originally meant to be the original leader, and it kind of starts, it started a lot of, comments about that, but it'll kind of just play out with how we see with this movie, and hopefully the soundtrack will cook. And honestly, we got 2 more left, and these are basically 2 that people were expecting, but not expecting at the same time. Let's get this the odd one out of this entire announcement probably was. We got a new Pixar movie that's also set for 2026. This movie being called Hoppers, and when you read the description of the plot, it really makes you it gets the gears turning in such a confusing way. It's about a girl who switches brains with a robot beaver and tries to become part of their kingdom. Huh? I had to reread that like 3 times, and yes, that is the plot for this movie. Pixar has really outlandish plots at times and somehow turn them into really emotional movies, but this one is very confusing. But honestly, they have the creator of We Bare Bears working on this. You might have me on board with this, because We Bare Bears is goated. If you didn't have this show, you were missing out on a lot. But, I'm surprised that we're getting 2 Pixar releases in the same year. Hopefully, this one will be in theaters and, not put on a streaming service. I think Pixar has done away with that, but, just in case, hopefully. It's something that we don't really know that much about. We just have a few images from it, and it's gonna be a movie, alright. We just don't know much about it. And then finally, we have Lilo and Stitch. This is actually surprising. This was originally supposed to be a Disney Plus release, and magically, the movie is now coming out to theaters in 2025. Sometime in the year, we just don't know when. But Stitch design it's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be. The design is a bit more lighter blue than the dark blue that Stitch had in the original movie, but it doesn't really look that bad. I mean, he did say some questionable things at the panel. We're just gonna question, how did bro get the pass? But honestly, this movie could really only go one way. The movie just stays faithful for the movie, and we just continue on our way. Not really talking much about the movie. The design doesn't really look that bad. Anyone that's clowning it, I mean, come on. We could have gotten an ugly Sonic situation. It's fine. It'll sell plushies. I think that's all they cared about. Because the amount of Stitch plushies that I'm starting to see is driving me insane. There's so many that people have all of a sudden, and the movie's like, 20 years old, and it's still going. I guess the Stitch appeal will never die. But I think that, Disney kind of has a balance between some originals, mostly on Pixar's side. Pixar is the only one that's really trying with originals. Disney is kind of iffy with it. But this lineup was really surprising, and I think that this upcoming lineup is sure going to be doing better for Disney because they were in the trenches from 2021 to 2024. They really were. With Inside Out putting them, back on track. Moana 2 sure to bring in lots of cash, and Mufasa, but really everyone will be seeing Sonic that day. Please, can we have a trailer, please? And, the rest of the films that they have lined up. I think the only worrisome movie that Disney's shaking in their boots about is probably Elio, but I think that movie will be fine. I don't think it'll bomb, like historically bad, one of the worst openings Pixar's ever had. I think it'll just do fine. And, that's not really insane. Pixar doesn't need to have a $1 billion movie every single time. But those are my thoughts on D23 and how they drove me insane watching that entire presentation. But what did you think of this? Are you excited for some of these movies? Which one's you're most hyped for? Or did you just not like this presentation at all? I'd like to hear your thoughts down in the comments, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace out.